That is the rookie, the #1 draft pick of the Vikings. Percy Harvin, second best kick returner in the league thus far, averaging 31.2 yards a carry. He has a 101-yard return against San Francisco for a touchdown. Baltimore set to kick it away, and we're underway. This is Harvin at the 6. 25-30, and that's awfully quick.
What a test today, though, for the Vikings. Their 5-0 record, 3 of the teams they played have, 2 of them have 1-4 records, 1 of them 0-5. Their biggest test of the year.
Favre calling signals with Adrian Peterson in the backfield behind him. And the play fake, Favre pulls it down, now gets rid of it, and that is complete to Jim Kleinsasser. On 2nd and 7, the give is to Peterson, and Peterson with running room breaks free into Baltimore territory and inside the 35-yard line before Ed Reed brings him down. He just chewed off a quick 26 yards and a first down.
Boy, and what did John Harbaugh tell us yesterday? We just can't let him get explosive big plays. Look at that crease open up right off of Steve Hutchinson on the left guard, the seal to the inside, and Peterson breaks the tackle. And this is exactly what Baltimore did not want to see. Adrian Peterson running loose.
On first down, it's Peterson again, and Peterson inside the 30 to about the 29-yard line.
Check, 200.
On 2nd and 7, Favre throws the slant, and that is complete to the 15-yard line. Nice grab by Sidney Rice.
Well, Sidney Rice, one of the largest targets that Brett Favre has ever had at 6'4", and he is really coming on. And look how he makes that beautiful adjustment to a ball that's thrown well behind him.
Brett Favre likes Sidney Rice, says he's got terrific ball skills. Head coach Jim Harbaugh.
Go!
The pitch for Taylor, right side. That one goes nowhere, courtesy of Terrell Suggs.
Well, this is a Baltimore defensive football team that, you know, they're missing Bart Scott, who's now with the New York Jets. Their defensive coordinator for years, Rex Ryan, is the the head coach rather of the Jets now, so he's gone. Greg Madison has taken his place, but the core of this unit remains the same. They've got a plus with Kelly Gregg, the nose tackle, coming back, but as long as Ray Lewis and Ed Reed are in the middle, it's business as usual.
3 tight ends now for Favre. Penalty markers fly. Favre for the end zone. Touchdown.
Well, it looked like Kelly Gregg was offsides, so this touchdown should stand.
Vasante Shanko. Here's Mike Carey.
Defense number 97, decline, score good.
Well, Brett Favre did it all that time. The hard count, he got the offsides, and then he throws a bullet. Right in the middle of your screen, there's Kelly Gregg. He's in the neutral zone. Actually, it's Bannon, not Gregg. They called Gregg's number, but it was Bannon. But look at that strike to Shanko. A beautiful hands grab. That was sweet.
Shanko's 4th touchdown catch of the year. The extra point is good. The Minnesota scoring drive. Brett Favre throws a touchdown pass, at least one in each of his first 6 games this season. That was number 474, which is number 1 all time.
Well, he had some help on that drive, Greg. Sidney Rice made an outstanding catch, and that catch by Shanko was exceptional.
Lardarius Webb to the 20. Look, and a pretty abrupt stop at the 22-yard line. Welcome back, everyone. The Baltimore Ravens start in a hole, a 7-point hole at their own 23-yard line. This is Ray Rice looking for running room and not getting any at all. Ray Rice.
The Michael Orr matchup with that guy right there, Jared Allen. A lot of people here, that's why they're here. They want to watch Jared Allen have fun.
3rd and 6. Loose ball. And Mike Carey rules incomplete.
And there's Jared Allen and Michael Orr going at it right off the bat. Great anticipation, and look at Jared Allen. He dips that head, stays in there, but that's good work by Michael Orr. Look at him. He gets good leverage. He drops his hips, and he runs Jared Allen by. The pressure that got to Joe Flacco came up the middle. The rookie did a good job.
Jamar Johnson is deep for the kick. Line drive kick. He takes it at his 32. Sidesteps the tackler up the sideline to the 45 before he is brought down.
A lot of people here, they're into the purple colors. Ragnar's always here, the horns blowing. Vikings on display everywhere.
Favre and Cookman from their own 45-yard line. And a little jumping up front. This one will go against
Offense number 64.
Anthony Herrera, the right guard.
First down.
There's Brad Childress. Now in his 4th season as the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. He's tough coach and fun to talk to, isn't he?
Oh, he sure is. A very likable guy. And then John Harbaugh, a couple acorns off of the Andy Reid coaching tree, both leading their teams against each other today.
Alert, 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 alert! Alert, alert! Green 18! Green 18, son!
Now on 1st and 15, straight drop for Favre up the seam. He's got his man inside the 40-yard line. Shanko with the catch. First down for Favre, and he sets up the screen. Here's Peterson around the right side, cuts it back to about the 30-yard line. That'll be about a yard short of a first down. Terrell Suggs making the stop.
Well, and right now, Darrell Bevell, the offensive coordinator, he is calling a game that's got Baltimore a little off balance. With Peterson runs downfield to Shanko and Rice, and now the screen pass. He's got a nice combination going right now. There's Bevell walking the sidelines. His 4th year calling the shots, and right now he's calling an awfully good game, an awfully good start.
2nd and 1 for Favre. Adrian Peterson has the first down to about the 26. Ray Lewis in on the stop. Ray Lewis, who's been in the news in more ways than one lately, says he will appeal some fines that have been levied against him by the National Football League.
Well, he got the $25,000 FedEx envelope for a couple of plays. One, the most noticeable, where he separated Mr. Ocho Cinco in his helmet.
Now from the Baltimore 26. Favre with a straight drop and throws to the near side, nobody there. That last pass, Favre's first incomplete pass of the day. 2nd and 10. Here is Peterson trying to find running room, cuts back to about the 23-yard line, where Lewis makes the stop again. And Ray Lewis, we asked him about Adrian Peterson. All he said simply was that Peterson plays the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Well, after 14 years, Ray Lewis has seen a lot of promising rookies and young players come into this league. Now, not many have exploded onto the scene quite to the level that Adrian Peterson has. But Ray said, look, it's why you play. You want to measure yourself against the guys who are the best. And right now, AP's in that position.
Now 3rd and 7. No one jumps. Straight drop for Favre. He looks. Oh, what a catch. Inside the 10-yard line. Inside the 5. Sidney Rice. 1st and goal for Minnesota.
Wow, is Brett Favre working that intermediate area. And Brett wants to do the hurry up. He's trying to get his guys up to the line in a hurry. But he's working that 15-yard zone there behind the linebackers and in front of the safeties. He has found a hole, and he's exploiting it.
And now Favre calls a timeout. Can't get the play off the way he wants it. back in Minneapolis. Brett Favre had to call timeout for a lack of players on the field.
They only had 9. He really desperately wanted to run a play, but I think it's best to go with your full complement of 11.
13 touchdowns and 18 red zone trips for the Vikings so far this season. Favre throwing, all wide open, touchdown pass to Bernard Berrian.
Wow, did they run a pick, or did 2 Ravens just run into one another?
That was easy.
Yes, and it's because there was a collision. Watch over here on the left. Brett working that way the whole way. You see 2 Ravens over there. You see Percy Harvin breaking to the outside. Both Baltimore players go with him, turning Berrian completely loose, much to the chagrin of John Harbaugh.
Extra point is up and good. We have 6 minutes, 16 seconds to play in the first quarter. Brett Favre, his second touchdown pass of the day. 14-0 Minnesota. Baltimore, just 3 offensive plays for a total of -4 yards. Still looking for their first down of the day. Not the kind of start Coach Harbaugh wanted to get off to.
I think that might be a fair assessment. pretty much the worst that can happen, especially on the road.
Darius Webb going to take this kick at his own 2. Trying to turn the corner, penalty markers flying all over the field as he's knocked out of bounds at the 25-yard line by Cedric Griffin. Mike Carey going to get the details. And give them to us.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 82, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Let's go back to that touchdown pass.
Yeah, you know, here's Percy Harvin right over here, circled. Watch him come out there now. My definition of a pick is you pick off the defender that's supposed to be covering the receiver, and he just steamrolls Fabian Washington. And I'm a little surprised that wasn't called, because Fabian Washington was looking at Bernard Berrian the entire way and just got run over by the rookie.
This is LeRon McClain, and McClain pulled up at the 14-yard line by Jared Allen and Cedric Griffin. Ever since we hit town, Dan, you've been talking about what a 6-day stretch Jared Allen had.
Well, you're talking about sacks and safeties and
Fumble recoveries
for touchdowns and forced fumbles and everything else. But it's his awesome speed and his motor that just knows no idle.
Play fake to Rice. Flacco going to go deep. Has a man open and overthrew him just a little bit. Looks like it went right through the hands of Derek Mason. Joe Flacco threw that ball a long way.
Well, Joe Flacco has one of the strongest arms in football, especially if you're just talking about raw distance. And a mistake in the Minnesota secondary. They turned Derek Mason loose, and Mason just not able to adjust to that ball and just finds himself about 3 or 4 inches short of having it land in his palm.
Looked like Derek Mason hesitated just a bit on that pattern, and it cost him. From the shotgun now, Flacco throwing outside here, incomplete. Mark Clayton closest to the football. The Ravens will have to kick it away.
The frustrating thing for the Ravens is that opportunities like that only come along maybe at the most 3 times in a football game. And to not capitalize, especially being down by 2 touchdowns, very, very frustrated.
2 straight 3-and-outs for the Baltimore offense, and that is Jamar Johnson deep.
Greg, you can play a couple games without finding a guy that wide open.
Johnson from his 34 across the 40 to about the 43-yard line.
So not only is Baltimore in a trailing position, but they're also having to defend a short field on a repeated basis.
They've started from their own 39, their 45, and now the 43-yard line. Play fake to Peterson. Favre running out of time, and he goes down back at his 34-yard line. Leading the way is Trevor Price.
And that sack of Favre, the best thing that's happened to Baltimore defensively yet.
Trevor Price is 4th of the season, 2nd and 19. Favre, pump fake, pulled it down. Little drop over the middle to Peterson out to the 40-yard line. Tavares Gooden, the second-year linebacker out of the University of Miami, with the stop.
And Tavares Gooden, a lot of eyes on him. He plays the jack linebacker for Baltimore, and of course that was Bart Scott's position. And Bart Scott was such a good player, is such a good player for the Jets right now. But Tavares Gooden, it's an uphill climb to try to reach that level where Bart Scott played the game.
Baltimore with a chance for a stop here on 3rd and 13.
Here comes the blitz off the edge.
Favre knocked down on the far side of the field by Dominique Foxworth.
The crowd booing a little bit. They think there was an interference on here. Foxworth been around a long time. He did pull the shirt. He hooks the arm.
Although he's trying to work his way around an arm bar there.
Yeah, there was contact was initiated on both parts. I think that was a pretty good no call.
Kick it away end over end. That should take a Minnesota bounce, and it does. Inside the 15, inside the 10-yard line, all the way to about the 7.5. Not a bad kick by Chris Kluwe. 52 yards in all.
And we just talked about Minnesota's positive field position. Baltimore's negative field position continues. Not many drives that start inside your own 10-yard line end up with anything good happening.
Willis McGahee into the backfield for the first time today for Baltimore. He gets the handoff. He gets nowhere.
Well, this run defense of Minnesota for years has been in the top 5 in the league. You know, Jared Allen is a pass rusher, but it all starts with the 2 monsters in the middle, the 2 Williams, Kevin and Pat. And Jared Allen, if only he had a high energy level.
Yeah.
There's their defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier. His 3rd year calling the signals.
2nd and 9. Flacco to throw this side of the field, and that is complete across the 25 to Mark Clayton. That'll be enough for a first down.
Monster first down that time by Joe Flacco.
Here's Jared Allen and that motor running coming across the line, but this is going to go against Baltimore.
Start. Offense number 74. 5-yard penalty is still first.
That's the rookie, Michael Orr.
And as a tackle in the crowd noise, you are at a distinct disadvantage. You've got to look in at the football, and Michael, you can point all you want, but you did actually a double flinch. You would have gotten called on the first one. The second one was just icing. And now, again, the crowd knows they got a false start by being loud, and here they come again.
You know, Michael Orr told us last night the key to stopping him is to play fast with him, but that's a tall order. 1st and 15. Play clock down to 1. Get the snap away. They give us to McGahee, and McGahee to about the 25. E.J. Henderson making the stop.
Willis McGahee has been the primary running back for the Ravens. the last couple of years, but Ray Rice has really come on. Ray Rice getting a whole lot more carries in the early going here in 09. But Willis McGahee's still a solid producer. The guy has scored 7 touchdowns already this year, 5 rushing, 2 receiving. Nice combination though, Rice and McGahee.
Flacco running out of time, flips it out to McLean. McLean comes up short of the 25-yard line. Cedric Griffin with the nice tackle.
Well, we told you that we're really going to follow Jared Allen and Michael Orr. Let's check him out this time. Good hands by Michael Orr. And actually, Michael Orr has Allen under control, and he gets chipped and knocked back to the inside away from Orr. That's where a tackle got a little help that he didn't need.
3rd and 12. Flacco over the middle, that's complete, but short of a first down, out to the 30-yard line to Derek Mason.
Nice tackle by Chad Greenway. Talk about keeping the guy in front of you, and Joe Flacco looks like he's hobbled a little bit as he heads over towards the Ravens sideline. Don't see anything at the end of the play. Flacco didn't get hit, but what a perfect form tackle by Chad Greenway.
Back in Minneapolis for the start of the second quarter. Minnesota with a 14-0 lead, and Sam Cook about to kick it away for Baltimore. This is Jamar Johnson at the 22, reverses field, looking for running room. Can't find much and spins down at about the 24-yard line.
Joe Flacco and the Baltimore training staff, we didn't see him get hit. He didn't go down, but we saw him limping going off, and here's why. A lot of traffic around him, and looks like Jared Allen steps right there.
Ow.
Yep, he steps on his left foot. And that was the play before on the screen. And Joe Flacco made it through the end of the series, and he wasn't limping badly going off, but that's an owie. That hurt.
So once again, we're at Favre and the Vikings. Now from their own 24-yard line. Favre, 8 out of 10 for 94 yards and a pair of TD passes so far on the day. He started off with a give to Adrian Peterson, and Peterson for about a yard or 2 across the 25. 2-yard pickup on the play, 2nd and 8.
Move! Lord!
Peterson again. And no gain there at all, as Brandon McKinney, number 91, got an arm on Peterson.
Well, there's a lot of stout folks manning the defensive line for the Ravens. You see Suggs was down in a stance, but McKinney working on the nose. He fights off the double team from Sullivan and Hutchinson. Nada closed it off on the backside. How'd you like to try to knock these guys out of there?
Sure, I'd look forward to that.
McKinney at 6'2", 324 is actually a pipsqueak compared to Haloti Nada.
3rd and 8 for Favre from the shotgun. Going to give it to Peterson. Peterson make a Chester Taylor, who has come in on 3rd and long, and he's going to come up short of the first down.
Well, a good stand that time by the Ravens. And now maybe with a decent punt return, they'll end up with some better field position.
And this is Chris Carr back deep for the Baltimore Ravens.
John Harbaugh giving Ray Lewis some props right there. A 3 and out is exactly what they needed.
2nd in a row for the Baltimore defense. High. Carr to 29. Tries to split the defense. Made it across the 30 to the 32-yard line. A look at John Harbaugh, who is used to his Ravens offense chalking up more yardage than they've been able to chalk up today. 5 rushes for 10 yards, 6 throws for 14 yards. Screen. Rice, 35 to about the 37 or 38-yard line.
And if you're going to screen Minnesota, screen it to Jared Allen's side, because you know you're going to get the big upfield rush. See Allen there on the right? He's out of the play as he rounds the corner, and then coming back, you're hoping to find a little soft spot. Again, Michael Orr does a good job running him upfield. And that's right, Jared's going, wow, I thought I had the edge. Ball's gone.
I mentioned to you during the break, Dan, the rookie has done a decent job on Jared Allen so far.
I like his technique. Good foundation, good leverage.
2nd and 4. This is Rice. And Rice to about the 40 before he's pushed back. And it'll be 3rd and about 2.
What kind of a trade was that for Minnesota to get Jared Allen away from Kansas City? What an impact. Keep in mind, he had 15.5 sacks his last year in Kansas City. When's the last time a guy got traded who had that kind of production?
Third and 2. Flacco going to throw for it. Has his man across the 45 to the 47, and that's Kelly Washington. And that's enough for a first down.
And Kelly Washington has been a pleasant addition for Baltimore because of his size. He gives them a physical presence at 6'3", and that's just a nice little pattern. Starts the crossing, stops, comes back out of it. Flacco delivers a good ball under pressure. Allen got there right after he threw it.
On first down, here's Rice again. Nothing doing there. 2nd and 10 for Flacco. Look out, Joe. From behind, that pass, he just got it away. There is no indication that it is anything but a live ball. And this is E.J. Henderson to the 5, touchdown.
Mike Carey, the official, the referee on the spot, rules it a fumble.
John Harbaugh already has the red flag in hand and now tosses it on the sideline.
That's Mike Carey's call. He just got informed that the challenge flag is already on the turf.
Coach Harbaugh thinks that was a forward pass and just told Mike Carey so.
He sure hopes it is.
Here's Mike Carey's explanation first.
Baltimore is challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble. Timeout.
Now, referee Mike Carey, one of the very best referees in the National Football League, has an interesting decision to make here. He says that this is a fumble, but watch Flacco with control of the football as his arm goes forward attempting the pass.
There's no question that Jared Allen hits him, but does he dislodge the football? I don't think so. See, if he dislodges the football and Flacco loses control, then it's a fumble. But I think Allen makes contact, slaps his hand.
After review, the quarterback's hand was hit by the defender. However, he had complete control when his arm went forward. Incomplete pass. Baltimore will not be charged with a team timeout.
Well, an uncomfortable spot for Mike Carey, having to overturn his own call.
But the right call.
But he does it, and he does it properly. And his explanation was spot on. While there was contact, Joe Flacco maintained complete control of the football. And John Harbaugh gets his timeout back.
And the points come off the board for the Minnesota Vikings, and still Ravens football. 9:47 to play in the second.
And there's just one of those pleasant circumstances where replay really shows you at its best.
Flacco now with a 3rd and 10. Flacco hit as he threw the ball. It's incomplete.
Man, that looked like half the Minnesota defensive line was moving before the football. Man, did they anticipate the snap count.
Wow.
It looked like Kevin Williams was across the line of scrimmage at the snap. Joe Flacco better start changing up the snap count, because the Vikings are all over it. You know, sometimes a young quarterback will fall into a rhythm of going on one or two too many times in a row, and a defense will tune into it and make a guess.
Jamar Johnson, the first-year man out of Jackson State, deep for the kick. It's a nice kick by Sam Cook. This one bounces inside the 5 and into the end zone for the touchback. Line of scrimmage, the 20-yard line, and Favre will give it to Peterson. Turning the corner, no! Stumbles down at the 20-yard line. Terrell Suggs getting credit for the tackle.
Well, Terrell Suggs gets credit for everything, and Adrian Peterson thought he was going to get that edge. But Suggs, who plays this game at a Pro Bowl level, he had contained, he had the edge, never gave it up. He strung that thing all the way to the sidelines and makes the tackle himself.
Well, Adrian Peterson told us yesterday that he watched Cedric Benson in his 120-yard game against the Ravens last week and said he has to be more patient. He thought Benson was very patient. Favre, incomplete. That one intended for Peterson.
Well, the blitz right up the middle. Brett, he realized there's no avoiding this truck. He's getting the old sorry about that from John Sullivan, the center, and they turned around and saw Brett flat on his back.
What did he call John Sullivan yesterday?
Well, they have their tackles are 6'8", and then it all descends down towards the 6'4" Sullivan in the middle that they call big midget. That's
only by comparison with everyone else on the line.
Well, when your two tackles are as huge as McKinney and Lodeholt.
Chester Taylor in the backfield with Favre on 3rd and 9. Favre over the middle, has his man across the 35. Sidney Rice, first down. Brett Favre says, with Sidney Rice, I feel like he's always going to win a one-on-one battle. That was no battle. He was wide open.
Well, he just goes down. This is 18 yards downfield. And if you wonder if Brett and his arm are still live, look at that spiral. That was a beautiful laser for Brett Favre. When he has an opportunity to step into it, maybe he doesn't throw off with the back foot quite like he used to be able to, but when he can step into it, it's as good as ever.
Movement on the far side, and that will be number 18, Sidney Rice, jumping way early.
And then McKinney, I think the tackle to this side went too. There was a little confusion on the snap count.
False start, offense, number 18. 5-yard penalty is still first.
They were going on both sides of the ball. These two tackles, there's McKinney, 74. Listed at 6'8", 335.
And then there's Phil Lodeholt.
Lodeholt on the other side, the rookie, their second-round draft pick, 6'8", 343. Are you kidding me?
Coming this way.
Makes some NBA teams jealous. The give is to Peterson. Peterson out to about the 39, where Ray Lewis makes the stop.
If you're a real football fan, you never get tired of watching number 52 play middle linebacker. Look at him come on in, take on the lead block of Tahi, go right over the top of him and make the tackle. His instincts, you know, maybe he's not as fast as he once was. Who knows? But his instincts are as sharp or sharper than they've ever been.
Facing straight back. Facing straight back. 58. 58.
Favre throwing it away. His man Percy Harvin out in the flat was covered.
Yeah. Coverage rolled right up on Harvin, and Brett completes one to John Harbaugh, who does a knuckle slap here with some of his guys. He's pretty excited about that.
He was knuckle slapping with you all night, guys.
And he's a likable guy. Of course, the Harbaugh family, a coaching family par excellence.
Now on 3rd and 10, Chester Taylor into the backfield for Minnesota. Just a two-man rush. Favre with time throws, and that's complete. And it's going to go nowhere, almost nowhere. Actually comes up about 2 yards short of a first down. Good job by the rookie, Percy Harvin.
Well, if you're worried about Harvin's shoulder and whether or not he was going to play soft trying to protect it, you can put that away. First of all, look at Percy Harvin get a great shot at the line of scrimmage before he releases. And then this is nothing but effort. Look at the shots he takes. Foxworth puts a good one on him. He fights through a couple guys. I think Percy Harvin is just fine.
Chris Carr fields it at his own 8. Thrown back to his own 5. For the second time today, the Ravens start inside their own 10-yard line. They've average drive start to 17.
And I think back to John Harbaugh yesterday saying to us, we have to run the football effectively to win. They have 12 yards rushing to this point.
That's not effectively.
No, it's not.
Willis McGahee in the backfield. McGahee with the handoff. McGahee going nowhere. Wrapped up at the line of scrimmage by Pat Williams. Trying to spearhead that running game is a longtime Minnesota Viking, Matt Burke, now in a Baltimore uniform.
A real icon here in Minnesota. Minnesota native. His wife is here. Talked to Matt the other day. He said, I'll die in Minnesota, but life is all about new experiences, and I'm enjoying this one. But I will be back as soon as I'm done.
Second and 9. Flacco. Oh, what a catch made by Derek Mason. And not a bad throw by the second-year quarterback, Joe Flacco.
Oh, you think? Watch this. Joe Flacco drops it right in over there. That's Carl Pema with the coverage. And even though he has to take a long stride on the second one, Derek Mason, that foot comes down inbounds.
Now from the 35-yard line, McGahee again. And McGahee forward to about the 37-yard line. Chad Greenway with the stop.
That's a completion, Greg, that almost has points attached to it on the other side, because if they've got to punt it out of there inside their own 10-yard line, Minnesota's going to have such good field position. Even if they don't end up scoring on this drive, that first down, getting out of the hole, already down 14, that is big, big, big for Baltimore.
McGahee, the running back of choice now for John Harbaugh. McGahee losing yardage back to the 34. Jared Allen again. You know, Jared Allen is a tough assignment for anyone, let alone a rookie left tackle, Dan.
Well, the guy can play the run too. He's just not a pass rushing prima donna. It's his hustle right down the line of scrimmage. Then the athletic ability to square, you know, drop your hips, get yourself gathered, and then drive in and make a tackle.
And what did Jared Allen tell us? My mindset is, you're a rookie, you're not going to block me, you just don't have enough snaps under your belt.
No, he's not short of confidence, and why should he?
False start. Offense number 66.
Ben Grubbs, the left guard,
down.
guilty of the false start. And John Harbaugh seeing his offense struggle so far here this afternoon.
And really, I don't think the crowd's being all that noisy.
They practiced all week with deafening noise.
They're coming in a little bit now, but I've heard it a lot noisier here.
3rd and 15. Short pop to Rice. Rice can't get away. Forward to about the 39. That's about 6 yards short of a first down. Ben Lieber making the tackle.
I really did expect it to be that almost physical presence that the noise inside this stadium can be sometimes.
And so did the Ravens.
Yeah, and I think, well, quite frankly, I think jumping out to a 14-0 lead has got some of these people sitting on their hands.
J-Bar Johnson again. Pull this one in at his 14. Penalty marker is down.
That's coming back.
2 penalty markers are down.
Hey, Todd, there's a
And as obvious penalties go, that one's right at the top of the list. Greg Lewis, number 17.
But again, we go back to that completion by Flacco. Look at the difference it's made now in field position. It's going to be Minnesota that's going to be all the way back inside their 10-yard line.
Well, there's some extended conversation on this one, even though there are 2 markers down on the field. Here's Mike Carey.
There was no foul for illegal block in the back by number 17.
Wow.
He maintained contact from a front approach, then it went around from behind. Therefore, there's no foul. First down.
You pick that flag.
Timeout.
First down now for Favre and the Vikings, and the give is to Peterson, and Peterson across the 30 to the 32, where Ed Reed brings it to a stop. And that's no easy task to bring Adrian Peterson to a stop.
No, it's not. Is it fun to talk to that guy or what?
Yeah, it's just not fun shaking hands with him.
No, you got to get in there first. Shaking hands with Adrian Peterson, as I'm sure everyone knows by now, is not for the faint of heart.
Or the faint of hand.
Or the meek and mild manner. You got to get in there and strike first.
And I think he takes a perverse pleasure in hurting you. Favre rolling, looking, and goes down at the 30.
Well, Brett got what he wanted. And talking to Brett, he said, you know, I would love to move out of the pocket more, not being chased out, but on designed plays, because I still feel that I throw on the run really well. And I want us to do more of that. That one did not work out at all, but he did the smart thing. You notice no throwing back across to the middle of the field like you see guys do that end up being big plays.
That wasn't always a Brett Favre philosophy.
No, it was not. That is the wise Brett Favre that just sat down.
3rd and 6. Favre will throw this one incomplete. That pass intended for Percy Harvin. Brett Favre talking things over with Sage Rosenfels, who is the 3rd quarterback today for Minnesota. 4th and 6. Ed Reed is going to take a shot at returning this kick back at his own 25-yard line.
That is a high-priced punt return.
We'll let this one bounce. And he covered it pretty dangerously before it rolled any further than his own 17 or 18-yard line.
Let's go back and look at the last incomplete pass. Number 92 is a Loti Nata. Depending on what he had for breakfast, he's somewhere in that 350 to 360 range. He buries Brett Favre, comes down, lands on top of him, hits his hand and wrist right after impact. Now keep in mind, you're a 40-year-old guy who just got buried by a mountain, and he's laughing about it. Is that the quintessential Brett Favre? Is that what he has been his entire career?
Having too much fun. Too much fun.
How could it be fun to get buried by Haloti Nada?
First down, Baltimore. They have all 3 of their timeouts, a minute 47 on the clock. Flacco, 7 of 11 for 71 yards. Little screen for Rice. Rice cutting it back. And a little running room across the 20 to the 21 where Ben Lieber makes the stop. Coming up to a minute and a half to play. Doesn't look like any real urgency on the part of the Ravens right now.
No, not looking at having to go another 79 yards for a touchdown.
Penalty markers fly as the short pop again to Rice, and Rice crosses the 25 to about the 27.
Looks like Ray Edwards was trying to guess the snap count.
And didn't succeed.
No, he went early. He was well across the ball at the snap.
Offside. Defense number 91. 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
Well, that time Joe Flacco, he changed it up just enough. You can see right there, they're going on the silent count. When he raises his leg. He's giving the signal to his center, Matt Burke, that it's okay to snap it. And that time Edwards just guessed, but he guessed a half a second too early.
Yes.
And now we get a stoppage on the field.
An officials conference. I don't know that did they give Baltimore their full 5 yards?
Thank you. Good job.
No, they didn't. That was an incorrect spot of the ball, and the line judge realized it and stopped it.
1 second and 2. Flacco throwing far side, complete, first down. And Mark Clayton looking for the sideline, doesn't get there, and the clock continues to move. We come up on a minute to play, and we get a timeout called. 62 seconds on the clock. Baltimore and Minnesota each with 2 timeouts remaining now. Flacco running out of time, completes the pass to Rice. And Rice across the 40 to about the 41. E.J. Henderson prevented any more mileage.
Letting a lot of time burn.
7-yard pickup, 2nd and 3. Penalty markers fly. Flacco once again to Rice. Out to the 48.
Again, it looked like the Minnesota defensive line was moving.
Offside. Defense number 91 is declined. The result of the play, first down.
Got to be a little discipline here now on the Minnesota defensive line. You can't stop the clock and give yardage like that.
Flacco running for his life and throws incomplete. Intended for Kelly Washington on the near side. Mediu Williams chasing from behind. 26 seconds to play.
Well, Joe had time to find a receiver. He just couldn't because of good work in the secondary of the Vikings.
Ravens at their own 48.
Need another 20 yards here.
And this one's going to go against Baltimore, so it's going to back them up. This one might have been the
False
rookie.
start. Offense number 74. 5-yard penalty, so second down.
Michael Orr.
Well, Michael Orr, number 74, the second one in from the left. And he did. He rocked back, settled back on his haunches for the second time today.
And did you see Jared Allen dropping back into coverage?
Well, Michael Orr isn't the first guy that Jared Allen has gotten to false start.
Or the last.
No.
On 2nd and 15. Flacco with good protection, running out of time, got rid of it. This is Todd Heap, the tight end. Room to run, and he's out of bounds close to the 35-yard line. 17 seconds on the clock, and that is Steve Hauschka, the Baltimore place kicker.
Who up until that play wasn't a factor. But all of a sudden he's in play. Great job by Flacco of finding him, and a good job that time by Michael Orr, who had a real battle with Jared Allen.
Todd Heap's first catch of the day is good for 22 yards. This is the longest Baltimore drive of the day. Flacco with penalty markers down. That's complete inside the 15-yard line and out of bounds close to the 10.
And Jared Allen was across the line of scrimmage that time at the snap. I can't remember the last time I saw this many.
Offside. Defense number 69 is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
I can't remember the last time I saw this many line of scrimmage penalties in one drive. Edwards with a couple, Jared Allen, Michael Orr with a false start, and all of a sudden Baltimore, looking like they had no chance and in no big hurry, right under the 2-minute warning, has got a chance for a touchdown.
Now thinking 6 points instead of 3. 2 timeouts remaining, 12 seconds on the clock. Flacco with time, quick pass to Rice, and Rice maybe a yard. E.J. Henderson with the stop. And a timeout stops the clock with 6 seconds to play.
Well, the question is, do you try? Do you have a 5-second pass play to try? I don't. Doesn't look
John
like
Harbaugh
it.
thinks not.
If you had 7 or 8, I think you'd be tempted to try to run a quick out or something that gets it into the end zone. But at 6,
well, if you were
it'd
playing,
be dicey.
If you were Notre Dame at home, you could be sure of having a second to go again.
I'll tell you one thing here, Greg. Brad Childress right there has something to talk to his team about at halftime. He's going to light into his defense for a really sloppy performance inside the 2-minute warning here. That he's got reason to light them up. Coaches love to have a reason to light their players up.
Baltimore and Flacco found some semblance of an offense here in the last minute and a half of the first half. This is from 29 yards out. Hauschka's kick is up and good. And so the Ravens are able to get some points on the board before time expires here in the first half.
Good work by Joe Flacco. The big play there, that dump off to Todd Heap, who was left totally alone by the Vikings defense. And he was able to get it across midfield. Now I'll guarantee you Brad Childress is smoking.
Baltimore's longest drive of the day, 71 yards, results in the field goal from Hauschka, and it's 14-3 Minnesota.
He's got to remind his defensive lineman that, yes, it's nice to try to get a head start, but look at the football. Go on the football. Don't go when you think the football is being snapped.
Two seconds on the clock. Adrian Peterson with 51 yards on the day. You know, John Harbaugh said he wanted to run the football today. He has not been able to do that.
Well, McGahee has 7 yards. Rice has 5. That's just... That is, if you told John Harbaugh that before the game, he'd say, yes, we'll be losing at halftime if that's all the more effective we are on the ground.
If you told him he'd only be losing 14-3, he might have been a little grateful.
He might have been.
Percy Harvin, fleet of foot, will not get a chance to touch this one. The ball bounced along the ground and picked off by Taki and covers it as time expires. Well, the Minnesota Vikings and Brett Favre jumped off big in the first quarter. Favre with touchdown passes to Shanko and Bernard Berrien. It is not nearly as loud as we expected, and more importantly, not nearly as loud as the Baltimore Ravens expected.
No, I agree on both fronts, and I'm a little surprised. Now, maybe at the start of the second half here, maybe the crowd will realize that they could help out. But they've been, and again, I go back, I think it was just the quick 14-0 lead. They're going, well, this is a yawner. This is well in hand.
How about Joe Flacco saying he was tired of all the noise in practice all week?
He used the word annoying. That's a big word with this generation.
Lardarius Webb from the 2. Gets up ahead of speed, 30. Spinning, 35, and out to about the 38 or the 39-yard line. A fine return by Lardarius Webb, and we have a penalty marker back at about the 20. 2 of them, in fact. This game has not been without its yellow handkerchief.
Well, and again, though, there's a chance for the Ravens to start with really good field position. The best they've seen in quite some time, and now that's gone up in smoke.
During the return, holding on the receiving team, number 29, half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. First down.
Let me tell you something. There is nothing to not like about Joe Flacco and his quarterbacking future in this league.
From their own 10-yard line, Willis McGahee getting the start in the backfield and can't get away from one Jared Allen.
Well, he's got the outside shoulder and the upfield contained to his side of the field. That's called gap control. That's Jared Allen's gap, and he honored it. He stayed there. Look at him fight. See, he's working against Todd Heap, who's doing his darndest to hold him and everything else. And Jared Allen stayed with it, but his job was to get on that outside shoulder and not surrender it.
Loss of 3, 2nd and 13. McGahee again. Slipped as he got started, got nowhere.
Well, all of a sudden now, after a couple futile attempts to run, now the crowd's starting to get a little excited, and it's in Joe Flacco's hands right now. He converted an awfully big third down, backed up to his goal line right at the end of the first half on that field goal drive. But John Harbaugh knows you can't make a diet of this. You can't make a steady diet of this. This is disaster waiting to happen.
Ray Rice back across the original line of scrimmage to about the 12, and that man Allen, Jared Allen with the stop, and it'll be the punting unit coming onto the field for Baltimore.
And there was his acknowledgement of how much of a disaster that was waiting to happen. 3 straight runs to nowhere.
And put it in the hand of your kicker, Sam Cook. Jamar Johnson back at his own 40-yard line. Cook. Inside 40. And tried to shake away. But he's brought down eventually by Haruki Nakamura. I think it's obvious not everyone reads GQ, Dan.
Well, you know, we have a wide spectrum of fashion here, from Ragnar that's a little barbarous to these guys which define dapper.
That's a little barbarous in itself.
I think it's a pretty good look.
Move it!
Favre on first down gives to Adrian Peterson, and Peterson pulls his way forward to about the 45. 121 yards and 2 TDs on those first 2 drives. And look at the hole for Peterson here. Peterson inside the 45 to about the 44-yard line.
You know darn well that Brad Childress at halftime said, we are going to try to get back to what we are. And what we are is a running football team. Right behind Hutchinson, behind McKinney. They just collapsed the left side of the offensive line, and that was a nice crease. Let me tell you something, for an offensive football team to get a first down on 2 running plays back-to-back, it is really a good feeling.
Peterson up to 66 yards on 11 carries, looking for more here. Pure strength gets him to 42. Ed Reed and Gooden with the stop. Vikings do pretty well once the second half gets underway, don't they?
Well, those are a credit to the kind of adjustments that a coaching staff can make at halftime. And Brad Childress, no one has ever disagreed with the fact that all those years under Andy Reid and his background, he is an offensive mastermind.
Backside screen. Go! 380!
On 2nd and 7, Favre to throw. Rolling, throws, complete to the near side. This is Berrien. And Berrien brought down short of the 35. How about when Brad Childress was talking about his big rookie tackle, Phil Lodeholt, at 6'8", 343. And Brad says, he could eat soup off my head.
He was describing what it's like to go up and talk to him to try and make a point. And he said, I get right up to him. And of course, my eyeballs are about his belly button. And you're right, he's so tall, he could eat soup off my head. And actually, Lodeholt's not the biggest guy on the line. That's Brian McKinney on the other side. It's beyond belief how big these guys are getting.
Go!
3rd and 2.
380!
Peterson. And twisting, and appears to have enough for the first down inside the 35.
Well, that's the classic story where defensive guys always talk about one guy's not going to bring him down. And that is just second and third effort, and there weren't enough Ravens coming in to clean up and help out to stop Peterson from twisting for the first down. You know, that was not a glamorous run, but it moved the sticks.
Oh! It's coming this way.
Chester Taylor replaces Peterson in the backfield. And gets the handoff and try the right side. Has running room inside the 30, inside the 25. Still on his feet, gets a first down to the 21. Now there's a patient run in using your blocks.
Well, I was not in the Minnesota locker room, but they apparently have had an attitude adjustment. Would you not agree?
I think so.
with what we saw out of their defense and now what they're doing offensively. Nothing fancy, just physical, hard-nosed football against a physical, hard-nosed football team in the Ravens.
5 running plays and a pass on this drive thus far. Taylor had nowhere to go. Here comes Adrian Peterson again. Remember we were talking with Haloti Ngata, and Ngata said he played ball against him twice in college.
Yeah, Ngata went to the University of Oregon, and they played him once in the regular season, and then they played in a bowl game, and he said it was ugly.
He ran all over us.
He said he'd get into the second level, and we had nobody that could tackle him or catch him.
On 2nd and 10, Favre going to throw it. Peterson out of the backfield and upended at the 22. Oh, Tahi, excuse me, out of the backfield. 38, not 28.
Again, Brett Favre running this West Coast offense. Very patient. The downfield option was covered. He doesn't hesitate to dump it off, but that was really covered well by Dominique Foxworth. Brett Favre has not been a long-range bomber through the first 5 games, and actually the half of the 6th game here. He has been a check-down intermediate passer.
3rd and 10. Pump fake. It'll be 4th down, and onto the field comes the field goal unit led by Ryan Longwell.
Well, I'm not sure Brett had a lot of leeway there because Tavares Gooden really had good coverage in that situation, forcing that throw low and away.
What did Ray Lewis call his fellow linebacker yesterday? Freak of nature?
Yeah, he really did. He said athletically, because Bart Scott he's a big guy to try to replace in terms of production.
40-yard field goal attempt for Longwell. On its way. Oh, just inside the left upright.
I'm trying to be serious.
Lardarius Webb at the goal line. Another good run back by the rookie, and this one out close to the 30-yard line. You can bet this is not what John Harbaugh had in mind when he said we want to rush the football today. It just hasn't happened. On 1st down, Flacco to throw. Far side of the field and overthrew Kelly Washington. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And of course he gets planted after their last series where they ran the ball 3 straight times. This time on 1st down they go back, and busting through is Kevin Williams. And Joe Flacco just gets pummeled and not able to deliver an accurate pass.
4-time Pro Bowler Kevin Williams. 2nd and 10.
And now we move into Jared Allen territory.
Rice. Tripped up at the line of scrimmage of just across the 30 to the 31.
Boy, I think Ben Lieber, did he get a hand in there to make that tackle? Because I thought Rice was going to bust loose for a lot of yards. That was really close to being a bigger run. That's Cam Cameron, the offensive coordinator of Baltimore, formerly head coach at Miami, and he and Joe Flacco have really developed a pretty special relationship.
Here's a big 3rd and 7 for Flacco and the Ravens. That pass is complete for a 1st down on the far side to Derek Mason.
Well, Derek Mason has long been one of the most precise route runners in the National Football League. And being a good route runner is not to have soft corners on your route. That is a good job of selling a downfield pattern and then stopping in a hurry. And Joe Flacco puts it on the back shoulder for Derek Mason.
Flacco getting rid of it before the inevitable pass rush comes from Jared Allen. 1st down. Flacco throwing to this side, and that doesn't connect at all with Mason. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, total misinterpretation of the game plan by one of them. Joe Flacco expected him to break to the sideline. And an interested spectator. Wonder if he went hunting this morning on his way here. I suspect not. I think the
sounded like he was headed out after we talked to him yesterday.
That was yesterday. I think the younger Brett Favre is getting a lot more rest. The older one, not more than the younger one did.
On 2nd and 10, here's Rice. And Rice across the 45 to the 46. As we work our way towards 5:50 to play here in the third quarter. Welcome to those of you joining us here in Minneapolis. Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf. Baltimore trailing Minnesota 17-3 with about 5.5 to play here in the third. And Flacco and the Ravens looking at a 3rd and 5 at their own 45-yard line. Here come the Vikings. Flacco gets rid of it and finds his man on the far side of the field. Complete to Derek Mason, and that's a first down.
Boy, what a job by Joe Flacco of getting rid of the football in a hurry, because he is going to be pressured. Jared Allen right in his face. That's an absolutely perfect throw to a well-run route by Derek Mason. Cedric Griffin, just that last little stagger allowed the separation. But look at Flacco with Allen right in his face. He knows what's coming.
Never saw it completed. 5 catches, 75 yards for Mason. Flacco over the middle, got his man inside the 25-yard line. Todd Heap.
Well, and Chad Greenway, the linebacker, he's going, man, I don't think I can run all the way down the field with Todd Heap. See Greenway, he leaps for the ball. He's got the underneath coverage and couldn't make it.
Here's Rice trying the left side, and Rice breaks through. 10-5, touchdown.
Well, Ray Rice finishes off a drive where we saw a couple spectacular plays by Joe Flacco throwing the ball. Michael Orr, Jared Allen. Allen tied up by Orr. That was just a good job. Derek Mason does a nice job downfield. Ben Grubbs at the line of scrimmage. That's the biggest hole a Baltimore running back has seen today.
Extra point by Hauska is good. Welcome back to Minneapolis. 4 minutes, 13 seconds to play in the third quarter, and Baltimore jumps right back into this thing with a 72-yard drive in just 3 minutes and 3 seconds. And Ray Rice and the ground game has come alive here in the second half.
And if you think there are a lot of uneasy people sitting in the seats here at the Metrodome, now the Mall of America Field, you would be 100% right.
Here's Percy Harvin at the 9. 25, and out to about the 29-yard line. Ray Rice's 23-yard touchdown run, Baltimore's first touchdown of the afternoon, has pulled the Ravens to within 7 with 4:08 to play here in the third quarter. Favre and company at their own 29-yard line. See Baltimore's resurgence since the first quarter.
Move it, Kevin!
Favre going to throw. Pulls it down. Oh, look at that shot. Complete to Sidney Rice. Rice off to the races. 20, 10, out of bounds inside the 10. It'll be first and goal. $63 yards.
Has there been a quarterback of Brett Favre's generation who throws the slant pass more on the money for more big plays than Brett Favre? He just stuck that right onto the hands of Rice. And Brett Favre, like he always does after completion, takes off chasing his guy. He used to get there quicker. But he got there with the same emotion and exuberance.
No, it's not Adrian Peters, it's Percy Harvin. with the handoff from Favre in the backfield.
Brett has just whistled that pass in on slants. We've been watching it for the last 19 years. And boy, was this a football team in need of a big play. After Baltimore drove down to score their first touchdown of the game, this has been quite an answer by the guys in purple.
And the Vikings in business at the Baltimore 7, second and goal. Favre, quick pass, near side to the 5, and to the 4 is Harvin. Rice, a career high 114 yards today receiving. Third and goal now. Favre going to throw it far side and overthrows the intended receiver, and that was Rice. Remember he said about Sidney Rice that he loves to have Rice go one-on-one.
Well, that was going to be nothing but a jump ball against the 5'11" Fabian Washington. That's all this is. That's just posting him up. But Brett, I don't know if it was Ed Reed coming in late that forced that, or if Brett just lost control of it, but that thing sailed away harmlessly.
Ryan Longwell from 22 yards out. And the Vikings salvage 3 on the drive with 2:05 to play in the third. Theirs is a 10-point lead. The Vikings 20 and Baltimore 10.
That's still a disappointment. After a big play like that, to get that close, anytime you're forced to come away with a field goal, there's a bit of a bad taste in your mouth. That's not what you were looking for.
The 3 Viking quarterbacks.
But you saw Brett talking to Tavares Jackson there, the quarterback of the Vikings, before Brett got here, and it's been tough on Jackson to talk. Was Brett coming? Was he not coming? But, you know, let's be realistic. Brett Favre, when he's healthy, can provide options for this team that Tavares Jackson cannot. It's got nothing to do with Tavares Jackson. It's got everything to do with Brett Favre and what he's still capable of doing. Like Brett told us, I still feel, yes, maybe I can't do some of the things I used to be able to do, but I can still make all the throws. He said there is no throw that I want to make where I think to myself beforehand, I'm 40 and I can't do it.
John Harbaugh says he can still do it. He may have to load up a little bit on the long ones, but he does, and he does it well.
And he also said he doesn't want to get hit. And I'm thinking, well, that's a pretty long list of NFL quarterbacks that I think you could put in that category.
I think that if you're going to list the guys who'd like to get hit, you may have to go all the way back to Joe Cat.
Bobby Douglas.
Webb from his own 8. Running room. 40. Up the sideline and close to midfield. Carl Pema knocks him down. Jared Allen calling for the fans to back them up. Flacco under pressure, shakes it, has time, throwing it deep down to the goal line. It is incomplete. Derek Mason battling a couple of defenders down there.
Well, for Joe Flacco, that's not the way they practiced it, having somebody in his face right away. But when he got a chance to plant, he launched it, but it just stayed in the air way too long. There's just no way to get it down there. But on the rebound, Mason almost able to make a play on it after Medeo Williams comes over and bats it away. Ooh, that was
close.
That was close.
2nd and 10.
Really close.
Flacco over the middle, and that is complete across midfield.
Man, there's a lot to like about this second-year guy from Rutgers.
3rd and 5 for Flacco. He needs the 41 of the Vikings. And throw near side of the field, and that's a bullet complete. And now incomplete on the sideline.
You saw the ball secured, but then you saw it squirt out after Derek Mason was on the ground. This ought to give us a really good look at it here. Look at that throw from Joe Flacco. And he just never gets it put away. That Carl Pema is the defender, and he did an outstanding job of getting his hands wrapped around Mason and onto the football to knock it out. That was fantastic coverage.
And that'll be a disappointment on the Baltimore side of the field because that was an awfully good throw.
A great throw, a good job of trying to get it by Mason, but give Pema credit.
Jamar Johnson is deep. Going to let it bounce inside the 10, and it rolls into the end zone for the touchback. Favre and company from the 20. Peterson. And the clock running, 40 seconds to the end of the third quarter.
Again, this has pretty much been the way things have gone for Adrian Peterson since he busted out for 100 in their opening game against Cleveland. He hasn't topped the century mark yet. He's up there 76 yards today, but it's been a grind. And we asked him about, are you frustrated? There have been a lot of articles written about it. He said, heck no, I will trade wins and touchdowns for yards anytime.
His reputation does precede him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
28 again, and this time brought down by number 55, Terrell Suggs, as time runs down. Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf, back in Minneapolis for the start of the fourth quarter. Did Fish change his name while I was away?
At least he got my name on.
Peterson in the backfield on first down from the 24. Pump fake, Favre over the middle, and that is complete to Peterson out of the backfield for a first down.
And that's something I know the Vikings would love to do, get Brett and Adrian Peterson more of a combo in the passing game. Adrian had 10 receptions coming into today's game. That's his third one so far today, and that's the most he's had in a while. He just can't get the ball into number 28's hands often enough.
Number 28 told us yesterday they haven't played their best game offensively yet this year. And this is a high-scoring Minnesota team averaging more than 31 points a game. Peterson, left side. To about the 38.
You see him give some props to one of his blockers out front, Bryant McKinney. Adrian Peterson, a really popular guy in the locker room, an infectious smile. You talk about a guy who brings it.
How about when we were talking to him, Dan, and you said, I don't know if you remember the last time we saw you, and he said 296?
Yeah. Greg and I were here with our whole CBS crew, and he set the NFL single game rushing record against the Chargers back in 07. 296 big ones. I think he could have had 330 or 340 if he kept playing.
Quick pass far side of the field to Bernard Berrien with a first down. Out to the 46, maybe the 47-yard line.
Well, Bernard Berrien puts on a nice little move right there. Dominique Foxworth comes up, and he has no chance. He just goes into a butt slide as he goes by. That's a new term. I'm not sure that that's been used in the football lexicon before.
Not sure it'll be used again.
Well, I thought it was pretty descriptive.
7 different receivers, 5 straight games. That's distributing the football. Chester Taylor in the backfield now, and Baltimore calls a timeout. First down, Minnesota at their own 47. Favre rolling, throws, complete, across midfield and into Baltimore territory for the first down is Visanthe Shanko.
I think that's the kind of movement, Greg, that Brett was talking to us about. Just the little bootlegs, just the follow through after a play action, rolling out to the backside. Brett Favre always has been very comfortable delivering the ball on the run, and he told us, he said, I'm just as effective doing it now as I've ever been.
Well, credit Darrell Bevel and Brad Childress for being able to keep the heat off of Brett Favre.
Well, there's a lot of give and take going on right now. Brett's hearing it from the receivers, what they like. He's learning what they do well. Keep in mind, everybody, this is still a work in progress.
2nd and 3. Chester Taylor gets the handoff, tries the left side, cuts it back, and that's a first down.
Whoa!
Favre's going to go deep. And the flags are thrown. Bernard Berry and the intended receiver, Frank Walker, was covering.
Well, the blitzer was across the line of scrimmage at the snap. That was Ed Reed. So there's the penalty at the line of scrimmage. And then this one appears to be an interference on Frank Walker. Pretty much of a disastrous pair of penalties that time for the Ravens. Now let's get the
there's an extended conversation about this one inside the 10.
We've seen flags picked up already.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both against the defense. Offside. Number 20 is declined. Pass interference. Number 41 in the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
What a move to get a release by Bernard Berrien. And then you can see there was the first one, and there's the second one.
Walker could have been called twice. He actually shoved Berrien in the back, but then he got the arms encircling the head on top of the shoulder pads way before the ball gets there. That's a relatively easy call for the official.
That's a 39-yard pickup on the penalty.
And Brett Favre put a little air under that ball. He got that thing downfield and put it in a position where it could have been caught. Nice throw by the old man.
1st and goal. Peterson in the backfield. Peterson left side.
Ray Lewis still can play.
This is what you want out of your middle linebacker. Listen in.
Perfect. Just perfect.
Adrian Peterson says he loves the way Ray Lewis plays the game. Not sure he was thrilled about it on the last play. 9th play of this drive, 2nd and goal. Peterson. That staunch Baltimore front.
Think there's a little pride starting to bubble to the surface here for the Ravens. Let's listen again. There's some hitting going on down there.
That's big boy football right there. Now, as an offensive lineman, I can tell you, when you're in the huddle, you want another shot at it. You want to run again. The gloves have been dropped. You do not want to go to some fade pattern or something like that. You want a chance to try to run it in again.
Play clock winding down. Favre, play fake, rolling, throws, touchdown. Shanko.
Well, the offensive lineman had a vote. They'd have gone for the run, but I think they'll settle for the touchdown.
Visante Shanko is becoming a really favorite target of Brett Favre, but then again, most people that are that wide open are favorite targets. His 2nd touchdown catch of the day, and a mistake by the Baltimore secondary, just letting him go.
And his 5th of the season. The extra point is good. It would appear that if the Vikings are going to stumble and fall this year, it won't be because of lack of points on the board. In all 6 of their games this season, they've scored a minimum of 27 points.
Isn't it fun to watch somebody play this game whose emotions are so close to the surface?
Lardarius Webb from his own 2. Ahead of steam and out to about the 25. A happy Brett Favre on the sideline as Baltimore starts first down at its own 25-yard line. And now up to Joe Flacco and his offense to see if they can answer. Plenty of time left, 10 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. Look out, Joe!
It is difficult enough when you block Jared Allen but when you don't touch him, life's impossible. How do you just not block Jared Allen? How do you not put a hat on him? You have to assume that the left tackle, Michael Orr, made some sort of a mistake.
2nd and 19. Flacco going to throw this one down the middle, and he's got his man, Kelly Washington, for a first down. And we have a penalty marker back at about the 17-yard line.
Offside. Defense number 91 is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
And Kelly Washington down on the field.
Well, you can see right there again another mistake made, this time by the secondary of the Vikings. And what a collision between Madieu Williams and Kelly Washington.
And Kelly Washington still flat on his back at the 45-yard line. And we'll take a break as they help him up. We'll be back. We're happy to tell you Kelly Washington popped up off of the ground and trotted off the field under his own power. Demetrius Williams replaces him. Flacco throwing far sideline incomplete. Let's go back to that play.
Well, yeah, let's go back to it. I'm sure maybe somebody thinks, well, gee whiz, isn't this a hit on a defenseless receiver? Well, I think Washington catches the ball and then turns upfield. At this point in time, he's a runner. He's a runner, and he's no longer a receiver, in my estimation, and that's just a good hard hit by Madieu Williams, and thankfully everyone appears to be okay.
And he did see Madieu Williams coming, too.
Yes, absolutely right. I think that's a point that needs to be made.
2nd and 10. Flacco under pressure and got rid of it.
Boy, and Joe Flacco is still down.
Third and 10.
And Joe is really kind of walking a little gingerly now. Michael Orr doing everything he can do to get out of his stance, but this isn't Jared Allen. Again, it's Kevin Williams. And poor Joe Flacco, their feet are actually tangled up. It's like his spikes, Williams' spikes, are like caught in Flacco's shoelaces. Of course, this is after 330-pound Kevin Williams steps on him.
3rd and 10. Flacco over the middle inside the 40, and it is ruled a catch. Demetrius Williams made the catch at about the 38-yard line.
And Baltimore is trying to get up there in a hurry. We can see the ball moving. There comes a challenge flag.
Brad Childress threw that one about 20 yards.
Wow, and Baltimore was getting up there in a hurry to try to quick snap it. I saw him juggle the ball, but the question is, did the ball touch the turf?
Brad Childress may have thrown maybe the 4th or 5th best pass of the day.
All right, let's watch it one more time. Demetrius Williams. This was a heck of a delivery by Joe Flacco. Oh, did the ball touch the ground? He did not have complete control of the ball initially. Oh, that angle I don't think is going to give Mike Carey enough to make a decision. Let's take a look at it this angle. He doesn't field it cleanly, and the question is, as he curls up there,
did
the ball touch the ground? And that angle isn't going to give Mike Carey a definitive look.
Edge goes to the original call on the field in that case, which is called a completion.
A reception, that's right. Here's one more look at it. Now right there.
Is it skidding along the ground?
Right there you could make an argument, and I'm sure the argument is, if you're Baltimore, that he had complete control of the ball. If you're Minnesota, you're saying, no, he didn't have control of the ball. It skidded along the field. That's the look that Mike Carey, I think, is going to agonize over a little bit. And is that enough to overturn the call on the field?
And at 27-10 with 9 minutes and change remaining, this is not an insignificant play.
I don't know that he sees enough there to overturn the call.
Talk to us, Mike.
After review, the ruling on the field stands.
think that's exactly right, Dan. Not enough evidence to overturn the call.
And if that call on the field, Greg, would have been ruled an incompletion, I think that replay would have stayed an incompletion.
So that costs the Minnesota Vikings a timeout. Each team now has 2 timeouts remaining with 9:08 to play in the 4th.
But it's a good challenge by Brad Childers. It's close enough that you gotta make him go under the hood to look at that.
That moves the line of scrimmage now to the Minnesota 38-yard line. First down. Jared Allen looking for a little vocal support. Flacco out of the shotgun, going to throw it to Rice, and Rice wrapped up after about a 5-yard gain or so, maybe 6.
Boy, another good open field tackle by Chad Greenway. He's had a couple of those today.
5-yard pickup, 2nd and 5. Flacco got rid of it. Down the sideline it is. Oh, what a catch made by Mark Clayton for the touchdown.
I'm telling you, Joe Flacco is getting pummeled in the Baltimore pocket. He's going down time after time, and somehow he's able to throw the ball effectively. He put that thing up there where he counts on his guy to make a play. Pema becomes a spectator, and Clayton makes the catch.
Boy, did this place get a little quiet, huh?
Well, you can't give Joe Flacco enough credit.
The extra point is good, and with 8:35 to play here in the 4th, once again a 10-point lead for Minnesota.
Joe Flacco's on the phone going, I'm getting killed back there. But take a look at this. This is just one-on-one. Flacco identifies just single coverage, and Carl Pema just has his back turned to the football. Johnson, the safety, is a non-factor, and there goes Joe one more time. Gets caught in the vice. But he drops this right in there, and Carl Pema just is complete. You can't make a play with your back turned to the football. That is not the way to play corner.
Dan, I believe I've been saying that for forever.
Yeah, he saw the football. He wasn't surprised by it, but he was turned the wrong way.
And in a matter of moments, Mr. Favre in the offense will be on the field again.
Yeah, Brett's going no baseball cap yet. This game's a long way from being over.
Keep in mind, Percy Harvin has a 101-yard kickoff return this year. He's fast. Harvin on the move at the 12. Just across the 25 to about the 26.5-yard line.
Well, here's where running the football is a premium. But if you have to throw it, at least you have confidence in the guy that's going to put it in the air. But this should be Adrian Peterson time.
Coming back out. Coming back out.
He gets the handoff. Breaks it outside. Look out. Adrian Peterson off to the races. 40. 20. And knocked out of bounds at about the 16-yard line. Maybe the 15. Adrian Peterson time.
It takes 11 people to play defense against Adrian Peterson. If one guy gets out of position, this is what can happen. And that time, Dominique Foxworth got caught to the inside, and Ed Reed was not able to get over and reroute Adrian Peterson.
That's a 58-yard pickup when all is said and done. Adrian Peterson, 139 yards on the day.
How about the hustle by Tavares Gooden getting all the way over there to knock him out of bounds?
Here's Chester Taylor looking for running room on the near side. He's wrapped up at the 15-yard line by Dannell Ellerby.
I think I might understand, Greg, why Ray Lewis called Tavares Gooden that physical freak. He ran all the way across the field and ran down Adrian Peterson to knock him out of bounds. That's a linebacker we're talking about.
Well, we've got that 100-yard game taken care of that he hasn't seen since opening week at
Cleveland.
Yeah, well, he's got another notch.
Right up the middle, close to the 10, is Chester Taylor.
They went 39 games without anyone cracking 100. Cedric Benson did it last week. Now Adrian Peterson has done it this week. It's not that no one has run the ball on Baltimore during that period of time. It's just they haven't had a 100-yard rusher. Greg, you and I were there at the Meadowlands when the Giants ran for 207 as a team against Baltimore.
No individual 100-yard rusher that day, but they did just fine running the football. Peterson back in the lineup.
I guess no coincidence that Peterson and Benson are number 1 and number 2 rushers in the league.
On 3rd and 5, Favre to throw. And wrapped up at the 15-yard line is
he hurt?
Peterson.
Is he hurt?
He comes up limping.
Adrian Peterson got his leg twisted underneath him in that tackle. Oh, and that Adrian Peterson, watch right here. Ellerbe comes down low. Oh, and right there he catches his left ankle. His left ankle gets caught underneath. Right there. Now, when that happens, sometimes you look at the ankle bend and you're not sure. You assume it's the ankle. Sometimes the knee can get flexed at the same time. We'll wait for a report.
Longwell from 30 yards out drills it. 6:01 to play in the 4th. 30-17 Vikings.
Ellerbe makes a heck of a tackle on Peterson. Right there, watch the left foot get planted, and then Ellerbe's body rolls right over it, right at the hip. I didn't see the knee bend at all. It looked like it was just the ankle that moved, but that hurt.
Also explains why Adrian Peterson went down at the hands of one tackler.
Yeah, well,
so
that was an outstanding tackle. Of course, Peterson did not have a chance to turn upfield. He really didn't have a chance to make a move.
Lardarius Webb, as the Ravens look for some decent field position. Webb from the 8. Across the 25 to about the 27-yard line.
And somebody lost their helmet.
It has been a head knocker of a day.
Well, still, this is just a 2-score game for Baltimore. 2 touchdowns, almost 6 minutes. We have seen it many times before.
Flacco and company from their own 27.
Can they protect Joe Flacco? That's the big question right now.
Lost the football, scooped it up, and is dropped at the 24.
And the answer on play number 1 is no. Now Flacco does get a chance to park himself back there for just a nanosecond. I think that's Kevin Williams that went by and knocked it out. And luckily Flacco was still free to recover.
2nd and 12. That pass is complete to Rice out of the backfield, and Rice breaking tackle. 30, 20, and out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. Tyrell Johnson saved the touchdown.
And Baltimore will not go away. What a job by Ray Rice of running through about 3 Minnesota tacklers.
That's a 62-yard pickup.
Brad Childress is living.
Flacco out here, complete to Mason. Mason diving for the end zone, touchdown. And Brad Childress is way out on the field yelling at Mike Carey.
Well, how's that for a touchdown drive by Baltimore in what, about 45 seconds or so? There's a bit of a defensive collapse. And with an extra point here, Baltimore is going to be a touchdown and then an extra point from the win.
Housh's kick is good. 30-24 Minnesota.
Well, this, again, look at the good block downfield. That's the key. Demetrius Williams, he makes the block downfield, but where's the underneath coverage right here on Derek Mason? Sure, Derek turns upfield and goes, man, I can't believe there's nobody here. Normally you catch a little out like that, you're expecting to have to evade someone within a yard or two of where you make the catch. Nobody from Minnesota was within 10 yards of him.
Now Flacco celebrates. Meanwhile, Mike Carey came over to the near sideline and had a brief conversation with Brad Childress.
Well, it wasn't Mike Carey that missed all those tackles in the Minnesota secondary.
Brett Favre waits his turn. Plenty of time.
It's uncomfortable to have what you think is a comfortable lead, and then all of a sudden find yourself in a position where not only is it getting tight, you might lose the game. A game that you have been in command of from the very beginning when you jumped out to a 14-0 lead.
You might say the Ravens and offensive coordinator Cam Cameron have figured some things out since the start of the game.
And remember, we don't know if Adrian Peterson is going to come back in the game or not. That is a big weapon to be without if that's the case.
Percy Harvin a yard deep in the end zone. And barely makes it back to the 15-yard line before he is snowed under. Peterson on the sideline. And we have Percy Harvin down on the field. Remember, he entered this game with a very sore left shoulder.
Oh, boy. Percy Harvin got this game started, and they are going right to that left shoulder again. And that was his injured shoulder. We heard it last week in the game against the Rams. Brad Childress really complimentary of Percy Harvin, saying, I'll tell you one thing about this kid, he's tough. He won't tap out. In other words, there's no way he'll ask to not play. And he started this game off the right way for Minnesota on the opening kickoff, giving them good field position.
Brett Favre says, you know, he's a stud now on the field, but he says, I've told him the light's going to go on for him after I'm gone.
This has not been a very good last minute and a half for the Minnesota Vikings. Adrian Peterson hurts his lower leg. Baltimore goes right down the field and scores a touchdown, and now Percy Harvin is hurt. All in the span of about 90 seconds.
So Harvin up. Taylor. Nothing doing. Kelly Gregg stopping up the middle. Here comes Peterson.
Man, is this some good news for Minnesota?
In about the last 5.5 minutes, we've seen the Vikings put 10 points on the board. The Ravens have put 14 on the board.
And you see it right there in the last 5-11. We had that burst early, then kind of slow in the middle, and now frantic at the end.
Peterson in the backfield, 2nd and 10. Flacco waits. Favre under pressure and goes down. What a hit from Ray Lewis.
Boy, and Ray Lewis, he comes on a dog where he loops around the defensive tackle that crashes. Watch Lewis right there in the middle. You see right there, he's going to come right off the rear end of his own player, Jared Johnson, and Brett Favre does not see him coming. And by the time he does, nothing he can do about it. Ray Lewis, well executed, well designed blitz.
third sack of the day of Brett Favre. 3rd and 18. He needs the 24-yard line for a first down. Under pressure out of his own end zone. Intended for Chester Taylor. And he just barely got it away.
Well, Rex Ryan may not be calling the defensive plays anymore for Baltimore, but this part hasn't changed. Pressure, pressure, pressure. That time Trevor Price just beats the block. That's not some sophisticated blitz. He just beats the block. And on a one-on-one move, plants far.
Ed Reed to return the punt. On the run, dropped it, picked it up, and is out of bounds at about the 34-yard line.
And this, I think, is a stunned crowd in this stadium. This wasn't a question of whether we were going to win or not, these fans are thinking, but by how much? Wow, was that premature thinking?
Ravens with 2 touchdowns in their last 2 drives. On the run.
Unbelievable.
All the way to the end zone is Ray Rice.
I haven't seen a defensive collapse like this in quite a while. Get a tape measure to try to measure how close anyone from Minnesota came to Ray Rice on that touchdown run. Talk about not having to break a tackle.
Hauschka for the lead. And with 3:37 to play in regulation, Baltimore has come all the way back to grab a 1-point lead.
Talk about a well-executed running play. Take a look at this. Just a simple handoff. Chris Chester, the guard, comes around the corner. Terrell Johnson, the safety, that's his play. He's got to make a tackle on it, and he just kind of waves at Rice as he goes by. And after that, man alive. Here's Jared Allen. Todd Heap runs him upfield to the outside. He's out of the play. Again, that hole, that responsibility belongs to Terrell Johnson. And he just does a wave by at Ray Rice.
Dan, when you consider that at one point in the 4th quarter here, Minnesota held a 30-17 lead. This has been a defensive collapse by the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, it was a game where every time Baltimore crawled back in to get reasonably close, Minnesota always came back and made a play and stretched their lead out even further. But that came to an end. Ray Lewis on the sideline interacting with some fans.
Here's Jamar Johnson. Not going to run it out of his end zone. So Brett Favre. First down, Vikings, their own 20-yard line. We welcome those of you joining us here in Minneapolis. Greg Gumbel along with Dan Deerdorf. The Baltimore Ravens were down 30-17 here in the 4th quarter, have come all the way back to grab a 31-30 lead.
Well, these Viking fans saw Brett Favre do it against San Francisco. A late game comeback. Can he do it again?
Pass to the near sideline, Sidney Rice. Stopped by Frank Walker. 4-yard gain, it'll be 2nd and 6. Joe Flacco has had an extraordinary game, much to Brad Childress's dismay. And Ray Rice just scored the go-ahead touchdown on a 33-yard scamper. and has quieted a really vocal Minnesota crowd. Jared Allen watching from the sideline. 2nd and 6. Favre. Looking deep. Launches it. Penalty marker is thrown. The catch is made by Rice.
Well, that was going to be interference on Frank Walker anyway.
Had his hands full of purple jersey,
He
didn't he?
sure did. He knew he was beat. He panicked. But look at Brett Favre, bought time, extended the play with his feet, and then found where he had single coverage.
Pass interference. Defense.
Right there, Walker knows he's in trouble, and there's the grab. He just yanked the back of Sidney Rice's jersey. Look at this right there. Pulls him. He just actually pulls himself along for the ride with the back of that jersey. I don't know how Walker thought that wasn't going to be seen. Great job by Sidney Rice of catching it anyway.
It bears repeating. Brett Favre told us yesterday he likes his chances with Sidney Rice going one-on-one.
He loves the fact that Rice is 6'4" and can elevate.
Here's Adrian Peterson, and he is stacked up at about the 20-yard line. Tavares Gooden led the charge.
Joe Flacco's got to be over there going, who is that number 4 guy?
And there is a timeout on the field that stops the clock with 2:46 to play. How about the day Sidney Rice is enjoying? 6 catches for 176 yards. He has a 58-yarder, a 63-yarder. Second and 12. Peterson to about the 17. Jarrett Johnson makes the stop. Clock continues to move as we come up on 2.5 to play. Minnesota with 2 timeouts remaining. Baltimore with 1. And Baltimore burns its 3rd and final timeout, I believe, with 2:30 to play.
I guess Baltimore deciding
they'd like a little room on the other side of any score that's upcoming.
Although they're going to get a stoppage at the 2-minute warning.
Two touchdown passes by Favre in the first quarter had the Vikings out to a 14-0 lead. A field goal at the end of the first half cut it to 14-3. Then a Longwell field goal, a Ray Rice touchdown, and then Longwell a field goal again, Shanko a touchdown, and it was 27-10. Mark Clayton caught a touchdown pass to cut it to 27-17. And then after a Longwell field goal, 2 touchdowns for the Ravens to grab a 31-30 lead.
How strange it must be for these Minnesota fans that they're looking at Ryan Longwell, a longtime Green Bay Packer, and Brett Favre, obviously a longtime Green Bay Packer, as the money guys here in the fourth quarter.
3rd and 9. Peterson stacked up at about the 14-yard line.
Well, the crowd's booing. I don't know what they're booing about. I don't know what else you expected the Brad Childress to do. You're not going to run the risk of stopping the clock with an incomplete pass and giving Baltimore any more time than they're going to have.
Well, that's going to bring us to the 2-minute warning. Greg Gumbel down here in Minneapolis. 2 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter, and Ryan Longwell, who has connected from 40, 22, and 29 yards out, will try this one from 31 yards, and the kick is good. That one puts the Vikings back up by a score of 33-31.
Well, John Harbaugh's club now hopes for good field position after the kickoff return. Never a doubt about this. And then can they get down to about
the 35, 37-yard line with no timeouts remaining.
Jared Allen cheers that on, and then he'll be on the field on defense in just a couple of moments. Baltimore, in its last 3 drives, has covered a lot of ground in very little time. The Favre family looking on.
That's Deanna Favre right there in the middle, looking on. How many times has she watched this before?
Old hat for her. Everybody's excited, and she goes, I've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. I somehow suspect it's not just old news over there.
Joe Flacco looking for his shot as the Ravens try to hand the Minnesota Vikings their first loss of the year. Lardarius Webb is deep. This is going to be bounced and picked up at the 15 by LaRon McClain. McClain back to the 30, out to about the 33-yard line.
Can this Minnesota defense regroup, because they have just fallen apart the last couple drives?
Flacco from his own 33. Far side of the field and overthrows his intended receiver, Mark Clayton. 2nd and 10. Steve Hauschka, a career long of 54.
If need be, I would assume they would try it all the way up to 60 or so if they had to.
Joe Flacco trying to add to a career-high 347 yards passing on the day.
I'll guarantee you that Hauschka has made 60-yarders in practice before.
Flacco running out of time, got rid of it. This is Rice. Rice out of bounds across the 45-yard line. That's a first down.
Joe Flacco continues to impress. Keep in mind, this guy in NFL terms is still a baby, but he earns the Joe Cool nickname. He is unflappable back in the pocket, stays with it, and he has been pummeled today by this Minnesota pass rush, and yet he is still there.
Rice 9 catches for 114 yards receiving. Flacco over the middle and a diving grab by Kelly Washington to the 41.
And Washington gets up limping a little bit, but again, look at that throw from Joe Flacco.
Flacco, short one to Rice. Rice inside the 40 to the 38. Coming up on 1:05 as Hauschka gets loose on the sidelines.
Well, we're about at a 57-yard field goal right about now.
Flacco stepping up, throwing, and overthrew on the near sideline, Derek Mason.
And Mason just imploring the side judge for a throw on the flag, really arguing that he was either held or interfered with. Going to have to be pretty bad to draw a flag in this condition at this stage of the game.
3rd and 7, 48 seconds to play.
This is where all those sprints, all those gassers, all those conditioning drills, you hope they pay off here.
Here they come. Flacco throws. That is complete inside the 30-yard line to Derek Mason. 40 seconds to play. First down, Baltimore.
If you're a football fan and you're not impressed with Joe Flacco, you're not paying attention.
And he's going to throw it. Incomplete, out of bounds, stops the clock, 26 seconds.
Well, they tried a little trickery right there. Cam Cameron, the offensive coordinator with Flacco, because they were going to just play it that Minnesota assumed they were going to spike the football.
There's Cam Cameron, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Minnesota that time, and Carl Payman in particular, really honored their assignments and stayed with it. They didn't get caught.
On 10. He put it on the ground to Ray Rice. And Rice to about the 26. 19 seconds and counting.
Going to be about, what do you figure, 45, 46-yard field goal if they did it from here.
And Flacco going to let the clock run down and spike it here, I would assume. And he does, with 2 seconds to play. And here comes Steve Hauschka in his second season out of North Carolina State. A 54-yarder last year for his career high. 44-yarder for his season high this year.
Whether he makes this or not, one thing's for sure. Joe Flacco is going to be able to say, on the day that he went head-to-head with Brett Favre, I stood my ground.
From 44 yards. And we get a whistle. Minnesota has 2 timeouts to burn, and they're going to use one here.
Timeout. Minnesota, their second. 30.
Well, right now, this is what you love about the game of football. When you get a game that comes down to the last play of the game. The tension, the drama, good stuff.
Hauschka hoping to silence the crowd and hand the Vikings their first loss of the year. He missed it.